And you have to almost turn down better opportunities to stick out that show. That's why you always see people that seem to despise the show that made them famous. I kind of feel like Blake wanted to do bigger things and probably thought she was above that. I mean, once you do these shows, you memorize a couple lines. It's not rocket science. They're not out there doing like, Philip Seymour Hoffman level acting.
There's clear breadcrumbs leading all the way in the past that show that she was out here trying to destroy other co-stars' names because she just was in her fifis.
No, I wasn't at all. I knew that was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. But also before I started acting, I knew that was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. And then I did Sister and I was like, this is fantastic. I love it.
So we have some weird connections. And I tell you what, Blake Lively looked miserable back in the day. And I've always tried to give her grace and always tried to say, you know what, maybe she's just trying to memorize her lines. But, here we all are shivering, doing some spring dance scene in January in New York City, wearing next to nothing outside. They literally have heaters to kind of melt all the snow. And then there she is in her plush fur complaining about, her day when we're getting paid, $112 for 8 hours work. So
former Gossip Girl extra Dave Neal recently offered behind-the-scenes information about his experience on the set of the blockbuster adolescent drama, providing light on the cast's interactions and the less than glamorous realities of production. In an honest interview, Neal explained that while many viewers loved the show's high society environment, things weren't always as dazzling behind the scenes. One of his most startling impressions was regarding Blake Lively, who, according to him, often seemed miserable throughout filming. His statements have prompted intrigue among fans, raising questions about the demands of appearing in a global phenomenon like Gossip Girl.
Not a huge fan of Gossip Girl. They had a bad rate, the CW rate. They pay you less, even in the union, than other shows. So, yeah. So not a fan, but I mean, it was culturally speaking. I mean, in New York, I remember days that cast was treated like the Beatles. They really were. You'd see Ed Westwick running from one location to another with a bunch of girls chasing after him. It was a wild time to be alive.
So wait, do you have any details on the Penn Badgley and Armie Hammer of it all? Because we're hearing now that Blake Lively, there was an old interview in, I think it was Glamour magazine in the UK, where she talks about poisoning the cast against Penn Badgley because she didn't like him when he was first brought onto the set. And then we've also heard these resurfaced stories from Armie Hammer where he claims he only ended up taping 4 episodes of Gossip Girl.
It's been 1 week since the Gossip Girl account tweeted that picture of the old cast and everybody freaked out, and there's just been nothing from that. Is that just like a hit at the new show? Like, oh, this new show sucks.
Just popping in to say the new show sucks.
Just popping in to say you guys sullied our good name with this trash.
New show sucks. XOXO Gossip Girl.
That show got canceled, right?
Yeah.
It was not good.
I didn't watch it.
I dabbled in like 2 episodes and then that was it.
Blake Lively, who portrayed the iconic Serena van der Woodsen, has previously shared her own reflections on the demanding nature of the show. In an interview, Lively described the production process as feeling more like being in the center of a marketing machine rather than traditional acting.
I don't think I relate to any of my characters. I've played a crack addict from Boston. I've played an Upper East Side princess. I think that's the safety in that, is I never play characters that are like me. The dangerous thing in being on a TV show for 6 years is that people have seen to like 127 episodes. So people assume, and I live in New York, I shared half of my wardrobe with my character. I, dated my co-star who I dated on the show, who then suddenly was my brother on the show, which is a very strange, very strange thing. This dress was one of the most critical sort of fashion moments of Gossip Girl. This was a Ralph Lauren dress. This was just like such a beautiful look, those little cropped black gloves. And I ended up wearing Ralph Lauren to the Met. That was my first year that I was invited to a Met Gala. And I think they only invited me because of this dress. And I even wore cropped gloves there because it was like such a sweet look. The impact of the fashion on that show was greater than anything else, greater than the storytelling, greater than the characters. And it definitely changed my life
they're shooting the last Gossip Girl. That's like the end of an era for you.
Yes, it is. It's crazy. 6 years. We're finally done. I can't believe it. I literally moved out of my parents' house in Burbank and moved here to New York to shoot Gossip Girl, and now we're done.
So is it bittersweet to walk onto the set tomorrow? Or are you going to celebrate the casting?
It is, but it doesn't feel real. I mean, and we know it's the end, but we're so used to coming to work together every day that we're gonna have withdrawals afterward. But yeah, it's been very celebratory in these final few months, knowing that we're coming to an end and just appreciating the time.
So now, Chanel.
Yes.
So is this sort of like a Cinderella moment here tonight?
Every moment in Chanel is a Cinderella moment. It's a beautiful Chanel couture dress, and the dress is held together by Chanel jewelry, which is, extra amazing. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
And I love the fact that you have an actual necklace in your hair as a
It's neat, right? I wanted some sort of like tiara because it looked like a princess dress. So I put a necklace in.
In recent conversations, former Gossip Girl Extra Dave Neal has revealed intriguing insights into the behind-the-scenes environment of the famous adolescent drama, notably throwing light on the experiences of the characters throughout the intensive filming process. Neal's insights have generated renewed debates regarding the demands and obstacles that performers endure when working on such high-profile films. He underlined how the hard nature of the play, along with the great public attention, created a unique setting for the ensemble. From grueling hours on set to the weight of audience expectations, performers had to negotiate a world where personal and professional lives sometimes intertwined. Neal's comments have rekindled concerns about the mental and emotional toll of working in the entertainment industry, especially for young performers forced into the limelight. With these debates emerging, many fans are now taking a deeper look at what it genuinely meant to be part of Gossip Girl beyond the beautiful picture it portrayed on TV.
A 2009 Glamour UK interview by Blake Lively, and in her interview, she admitted to trying to poison the cast of Gossip Girl, which is where she made her name, against her co-star Penn Badgley, who played her love interest, Dan Humphrey, on the show. She said, "At first I was so upset that they had hired him, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him." And she goes on to say, "But then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a nice, charming person, and almost immediately I realized it too. But it took me about a week to admit it." And here's the thing. Reports were that Blake Lively and Leighton Meester, who played best friends on that show, were not friends during the 6-season run of the show. Leighton Meester and Penn Badgley and other Gossip Girl co-stars have remained silent in the wake of the Baldoni legal drama. Neither Meester nor Badgley follow Lively on Instagram.
Or, you know what? Potentially proof positive that there is a history of her doing this type of behavior, going out of her way to talk ish, put out rumors, say bad things, say negative things about other co-stars, either because she just is in her feelings about that person, not happy about that person being in the show, or because she feels, I don't know, maybe because she just wants to start drama for the sake of starting drama. I don't know what it is, but clearly we're seeing the embryo stage, the embryo stasis, or the embryo stage, the beginnings, right, of this whole thing to what it has flowered or blossomed into now.
It's sort of like a college roommate that you're super fond of, but just don't live near and don't see, and you don't really have the same things that connect you anymore. That's really what it's like. Chase and Leighton happen to be two who I'm more recently in touch with, partly because of the podcast, but that's more or less circumstantial. I mean, it's like I think we all remain like, none of us live near one another, but we're just sort of like, we remember it fondly, and when we do run into each other, it's like, hey.
Blake Lively, who memorably portrayed the infamous Serena van der Woodsen, has already talked up on her own views on the difficult and demanding nature of filming on the program. In an interview, Lively revealed her opinions on the experience, characterizing the production process as something that frequently seemed more like being at the heart of a giant marketing machine rather than engaging in traditional acting. She stated that while the program gave tremendous chances, it also came with its own set of challenges, notably with the continual media attention, branding obligations, and the demanding production schedule. For Lively, the role was both a career-defining moment and a hard one that forced her to negotiate the complications of stardom while keeping true to her work.
I mean, but I don't have any bad memories of you, so that's good.
Great.
So bad memories of you. So there you go.
And we'll leave it at that.
And we'll leave it at that. No, I always had fun filming our scenes together, especially in the beginning. We worked a lot.
Totally.
Like we worked a lot together.
Yeah, actually, but you know, I mean, I'm almost like, oh. By the end, we really didn't work together.
No,
at all.
No,
you were always doing crazy
storyline. I was off being a drug dealer and whatever else they were writing in.
Now there are more things starting to come out, showing that there are breadcrumbs, that there is a possibility that she's been doing this since she's been in the system, since she's been in the Hollywood game. And it's insane to me because this is also her going after another co-star on a hit show. Now, Gossip Girl was a very, very popular show. For those of y'all who don't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys know or were first introduced to Blake Lively through that show.
She expanded on the tight pace, stating that they were frequently shooting numerous episodes concurrently. The actors and crew regularly received their lines at the very last minute, giving little to no space for thorough rehearsal. This chaotic approach made it impossible to fully immerse themselves in their parts, as they were always hurrying to learn sentences while simultaneously trying to comprehend the emotional depth necessary for each scene. Additionally, there was a distinct absence of defined character arcs or good planning, which just added to the overall uncertainty. Without a well-defined direction for their characters, the performers found it hard to create performances that felt true and significant. Instead of experiencing the growth and development that often comes with a planned drama, they were left feeling like they were merely going through the motions, reacting in real time rather than constructing complex depictions. This rapid pace not only heightened stress levels, but also led to a developing sense of separation from the art. Rather than feeling like they were part of a well-structured production, it often felt as if they were engaging in some kind of cultural experiment, one where the rules were unclear, and the beauty of storytelling was usually eclipsed by the strain to keep up.
Justin Baldoni is now involving Taylor Swift in his lawsuit against Blake Lively. So Justin Baldoni is suing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicists for over $400 million for all the It Ends With Us drama. Now he's name dropping Taylor Swift, Blake's bestie, in the mix. Thankfully, Taylor Swift is not being sued, but she's mentioned in his 179-page paper complaint. And he's alleging that Taylor's fame was used to pressure him during production. And it really all stems from this penthouse situation where Blake and Ryan live. Apparently there was a meeting there with all of them and Taylor Swift was actually present, and Blake ended up rewriting one of the scenes. And even after the meeting was over, Baldoni texted Blake this, saying, "I gotta put my glasses on for this one, the font is too small. Also was working on the rooftop scene today. Really love what you did."
This was a sinister PR move. Blake Lively then moved 11 days later to file a lawsuit. So now she has filed a lawsuit, and I don't think she ever wanted to do this. I think she genuinely wanted this to be a PR move, and she wanted to leak it to the New York Times. She thought the public would take her side with no questions asked. And instead the public is saying, no, we have a few questions here. And Justin Baldoni is going all the way to the wall on this. His lawyer is already giving interviews explaining just how nasty her team has played this. The lawyer's name is Brian Friedman. He stopped by the Megyn Kelly show, and here's some of the things that he had to say. First, he says there used to never be a civil claim. There never was a civil claim until she went to that civil rights office. Take a listen.
There was actually no allegation of harassment until the lawsuit was filed.
We're going to be talking all things Blake Lively and her legal complaint that she's filed against her It Ends With Us co-star, Justin Baldoni. Yes, the It Ends With Us movie drama does in fact not end. What's interesting about this story to me is the Justin Baldoni of it all. He is a self-proclaimed male feminist. He's woke. He speaks out against sexual assault and sexual harassment, even toxic masculinity. And now in this legal complaint filed by Blake Lively, he's being accused of sexual harassment.
I challenge you to see if you can use the same qualities that you feel make you a man to go deeper into yourself. And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of harassment, when you hear your boys talking about grabbing ass or getting her drunk? Will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words "me too"?
This is going to be really awkward if these allegations are true. I will say, just for the record, I'm not a fan of either of these individuals, and something about both of them rubs me the wrong way.
Followed by an attempted PR takedown of her to cover his own ass from people finding out what he did to her. In an article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone," Blake Lively heroically shared her story and the world was on her side because it looked like she was just trying to take down a predator in Hollywood. So Justin Baldoni and his ace lawyer launched an all-cylinder fire attack to clear his name, and he started by suing the New York Times, saying that article was just published because it was paid for by Ryan Reynolds and it was a multi-layered scheme planned out by Blake and Ryan to take down Justin. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that the mainstream media will lie on behalf of their powerful friends or anyone who pays them off to say certain things.
In an unearthed 2009 interview with Glamour magazine, Blake Lively frankly expressed her first worries about working with Penn Badgley on the set of Gossip Girl. Lively stated that when she first learned of Badgley's casting, she was extremely angry. She felt firmly that he wasn't the appropriate fit for the job, and even went as far as attempting to convince her other cast members against him. She frankly acknowledged, "I actually poisoned the whole cast against him." At the time, she was convinced that his presence on site would create an uncomfortable dynamic. She didn't think he had the proper energy or charisma to bring the character to life the way she envisioned. Lively's strong response stemmed from her idea that Gossip Girl required a specific chemistry among the key performers, and she thought Badgley wouldn't fit into that equation. However, despite her initial suspicion, her opinion on him shifted very rapidly. Within barely a week of working together, she started to see an entirely new side of him. She realized Badgley's genuine and pleasant personality, understanding that she had misunderstood him based on her initial impression. They spent more time together on set. She realized how professional, committed, and skilled he genuinely was. What started as doubt ultimately grew into adoration, and the tension that had previously existed between them went away. In retrospect, Lively conceded that she had jumped to conclusions too fast, and by the time they had settled into their roles, any residual misgivings had fully evaporated. This revelation provided a fascinating depth to their on-screen relationship, making their interaction as Serena and Dan even more engaging for viewers of the program.
This legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively just got more intense, and I didn't think it could, because Justin just launched an entire website with close to 400 pages of evidence as he tries to win public opinion in this legal battle between It Ends With Us drama. I don't know anything. Basically, these two are involved in legal disputes. I feel like I've learned more about them in the past few months than I've learned about my friends and family. When you go to his website, there's two different documents, but the first one is the amended complaint. It is 224 pages. And in it, it shows that they found metadata of the New York Times article posted in December showing that they have been colluding with Blake and Ryan for months. And then there is the timeline of the relevant events. That is 168 pages, which starts January 1st, 2019, when you first emailed Colleen about the movie, all the way to January 29th, 2025. That is a 6-year timeline. Like, I've never seen anything like this. This is what Justin wants to let the public know, and this website is live and you could see it for yourself.
That are carried to excess that end up being harmful to both men and the women and the people in their lives. Nothing good ever comes from pointing the finger at somebody. Like if we were in a conversation and we didn't know each other and I was coming at you like this, your instinct would be to retreat.
Despite this difficult start, Lively and Badgley formed a strong friendship both on and off the film. Their friendship got deeper over time, and they finally began dating in 2007, echoing the romantic plotline of their characters, Serena Van, Woodson and Dan Humphrey on Gossip Girl. Fans were ecstatic to see their on-screen chemistry translate into real life, making them one of the most talked about couples in young Hollywood at the time. Their romance evolved while working together, and despite the demands of celebrity and the constant media attention, they managed to keep their relationship relatively quiet. They developed a profound relationship, often spending time together on and off set, but always stayed professional when it came to their business. Their ability to separate their personal and professional lives was impressive, as they never allowed their relationship to interfere with their performances on the program. Their real-life romance lasted until 2010, covering 3 years, during which they continued to work together smoothly. Even after their separation, both Lively and Badgley maintained a professional manner, ensuring that their personal issues would not impair their jobs on Gossip Girl. Many cast and crew members later applauded them for handling the situation with maturity, as they never let their former relationship generate stress on site. Despite parting ways romantically, they remained friends and appreciated one another's jobs. Their ability to go on without turmoil spoke much about their expertise and mutual understanding. Even years after the show ended, both performers looked back at their time on Gossip Girl with love, illustrating that certain relationships, even if they don't endure forever, can have a lasting influence. As Taylor Swift, Blake Lively's own best friend, hasn't publicly backed with her, it raises even more suspicions about Lively's accusations. Swift is generally famous for zealously defending her friends, especially when they confront issues or public attention. Yet, in this specific circumstance, she has been unusually mute. If someone as outspoken and dedicated as Swift hasn't gone forward to support Lively, it might signal that Lively's charges against Justin Baldoni aren't as strong as they may seem on the surface. Silence can sometimes be louder than words, and in this scenario, Swift's decision to keep out of the drama might be a subtle yet strong hint that there's more to the tale than what's being given to the public. If Lively had indisputable proof or a perfectly justifiable stance, wouldn't Swift, known for her unshakable allegiance, have already spoken up? Her absence in the discourse encourages suspicion, making others question if the narrative being pushed by Lively is missing critical information.
This morning, I sent a text message to my best friend Jamie and the president of my company, Tara. And I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had a intense year. A lot of material success and a lot of emotional stress. It's very hard on me and my family.
Here's a fan conspiracy that's going viral saying the reason why I believe Justin Baldoni is because Taylor Swift hasn't defended Blake Lively publicly. You know, hey, it might have some weight. Have a listen.
Say this out loud because I haven't seen anybody else say it. Does nobody else think that Taylor Swift is the dead giveaway? That Taylor Swift is the reason that none of it makes any sense with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? Like, Blake Lively has to be lying about being sexually harassed. And the reason I say that is she couldn't even convince her best friend.
And by the way, other people like Umbrella Guy have said this is why she's doing this fishing expedition with the subpoenas, because they're looking to further smear Justin Baldoni because they don't actually have any evidence of the sexual harassment. And if you really are friends with somebody, like if Taylor Swift really believes Blake, she might say something like, look, let's let this all play out, but I'm standing by my friend. I believe my friend. I think that would be so fair to do. And the fact that Blake hasn't done that at all, I think does speak volumes, because in the end, if Blake Lively is telling the truth, you wouldn't even want to be friends with Taylor Swift at the end of this, because she hasn't had your back. Like, you want your friends to defend you. So the fact that the friends aren't defending you, what does that say? Okay, Lady C is a Twitter account that has gone viral for their sources regarding It Ends With Us. And I'm just going to read what they have to say, because they're putting pressure on Colleen Hoover to throw Blake Lively under the bus.
Do you believe Blake Lively's past may have impacted what she is facing now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
It's also worth mentioning that Swift has never been one to shy away from calling out individuals she thinks to be in the wrong, whether it's in her songs or in real life. She has earned a reputation for being outspoken when it comes to subjects she feels passionately about, whether it's addressing personal betrayals, industry injustices, or even bigger societal concerns. Her songs often serve as a platform to voice complaints, and she has never hesitated to take a position when she believes someone has crossed a line. So, the fact that she hasn't taken Lively's side publicly might be a clue that she either doesn't entirely believe in her accusations or is unwilling to get involved in something that isn't as clear as it looks. It raises doubts about where Swift genuinely stands on the topic. If she had sincerely thought that Lively was the victim of an unfair scenario, wouldn't she have at least offered some type of subliminal support, even if not outrightly? A small gesture, liking a post, a cryptic encouraging comment, or even a properly phrased statement, would have been enough to signal where her allegiance lay. But the absence of any of these things makes people wonder, could it be that Swift knows something the public doesn't? Is she aware of certain aspects that haven't been brought to light? Or is she simply choosing to separate herself from unneeded drama in order to avoid getting sucked into a scandal that doesn't serve her interests? It wouldn't be the first time a celebrity chose for quiet rather than risk connecting themselves, with a scenario that may later take an unanticipated turn. The entertainment world is full of half-truths, manipulation, and strategic actions, so it wouldn't be shocking if Swift's decision to keep silent is truly a premeditated one. Maybe she recognizes that taking a stance, one way or another, may boomerang on her, ruining her carefully established public image. Regardless matter the cause, her silence says volumes. It compels people to examine the authenticity of Lively's charges and whether there is another side to the tale that hasn't been aired yet. In Hollywood, friendships and loyalty are often tried in the court of public opinion, and in this case, Swift's silent position could be telling more than any statement ever could. The absence of public acknowledgement implies there may be layers to this scenario that remain concealed, leaving fans and detractors alike wondering about what's actually going on behind closed doors. With every passing day, the mystery only grows, making everyone wonder, what is the truth, and why isn't Swift saying anything about it? Is her silence a show of support, or does it hint to something more complex? Some say that by being quiet, she is gently distancing herself from the scandal, while others claim that she may be safeguarding a deeper truth that hasn't revealed yet. Either way, the unsolved issues continue to fuel conjecture, making this situation even more fascinating. The mechanics of Hollywood friendships are delicate, and sometimes silence may be louder than words. It's not uncommon for celebrities to purposefully avoid engagement in crises to preserve their own image, but in Swift's case, her lack of comment is simply adding to the mystery. Could it be that she knows something the public doesn't, or is she merely waiting for the ideal opportunity to speak? Until she breaks her silence, the rumors will simply continue to develop. Do you feel Blake Lively's history may have had a factor in what she is experiencing now? Some admirers think certain incidents from her background could be catching up with her, while others say it's simply a coincidence. What's your perspective on this? Drop your opinions in the comments below.